work.
Hi, and welcome back to Let's Talk with Parul. Today, we're going to be talking about something which has been on everybody's mind. I know that for sure, job security, about what lies ahead. McKinsey Global Institute report suggests that women's presence in the workforce in India, which already is as low as 20%, has reduced further by about 17 to 23% after the pandemic. Companies have restructured themselves to survive the pandemic, and for us, that's meant job cuts, pay cuts, forcing hard choices in most families, coupled with the other anxieties that we're going through anyway because of the COVID lockdown. So how worried should we be? And how should we prepare ourselves to cope with all those changes? A conversation that definitely needs to happen. And thank you for joining me. We have a fabulous panel today to help us with the answers. Please welcome Beejal Das. She's Vice President HR, HDFC Bank. She's currently heading capability building, talent acquisition, branding, and various diversity inclusivity initiatives in the bank, and comes with rich experience of over 18 years in various aspects of human resources. She has twin daughters, and she returned to HDFC Bank post maternity leave and firmly believes that women should hold on to their aspirations despite life changes. Beejal has also spearheaded Careers 2.0, a return to work initiative in which HDFC Bank has given many women who are on a break an opportunity to restart their career. Please also welcome Prriti Narain. She's a market HR leader at Google and drives the people agenda for Google in India. She's also a public speaker. She serves on the HR committee at FICCI as well. With a vast career spanning HR roles at leading international organizations, Prriti is another great role model for building a demanding career and raising a family at the same time. And I'm sure her teen and tween will back me up well on that. We also have with us Anjali Gulati. She's the founder of People Connect, an organization that caters to the emerging talent attraction and management needs of the industry. She's also launched Back to the Front, which is a recognized program in the industry today to drive the gender diversity and inclusion, the D&I mandate. She's a postgrad in HR, and she draws her strength from her own journey through the 3 M's: marriage, mobility, and motherhood. Thank you all for joining me today. We look forward to a really interesting conversation because I know the topic is provocative enough. So, Beejal, I'm going to start with you. My question to you first is essentially about the perception versus reality. There are various studies which have come up. British research firm Crosby Textor had run a survey in April across various world geographies around the country. And worries about job losses were highest in India. I think about 86% of those surveyed feared losing their jobs in the next few months. Well, it's been 5 months now. How scared should we be? How real is this fear? And what is the current scenario in your opinion?
So in the same article, there was some amount of information that the percentage of people in the US and the UK varied in between something like 30 to about 41% in terms of people who are likely to lose their jobs. And versus that, the thought process was that about 83 to 86% in India and about 71% odd, if I'm not very wrong, if I remember this correctly, because this was in Economic Times, this particular article which you're referring to, or this particular study which you're referring to, was quoted in the Economic Times. So about 71% in Hong Kong and about 83 to 86% in India are what the numbers look like. So to answer your question, is it a very tough time for economy? Yes. But in terms of fear got nobody anywhere, in my opinion. So the thing to do, in my opinion, because I have been in the corporate arena for the last 18 odd years, I have seen the dot-com bubble burst, I have seen financial meltdowns, the international, the worldwide financial meltdown, which impacted India as well. In my opinion, instead of being scared, everybody should hold on to what they're right now doing, do it well, make a paradigm shift in terms of the way in which they work, try and cope with the new normal as we know it, and deliver results, and we should be fine. It will take a little bit of time, but there's no reason to get
panicky.
Yeah, to get panicky at all. What goes down will come up. Things will get better. We can, however, use this particular time to center our energies, to try and upskill ourselves, to try and possibly improve various facets of our life, spend time with family, which we have incidentally, chanced upon, make the most out of it. And like I said, center your energies, be calm, it'll be fine. But it'll take some time. It'll move for the better. And upskill, yes, use up the extra time that we have to upskill, get more information instead of keeping on reading about COVID. I would rather recommend that either your own personal interest or in professionally to your work, just try and improve your knowledge levels. That should be helpful.
In fact, we're going to go into a little deeper level as far as upskilling is concerned. We're going to take recommendations from all of you. But that's a great note to start with, Beejal, that don't panic. This is, yes, the economy is in a bad state. There's no doubt about it. But like you said, fear gets us nowhere. So I think it's basically baby steps. Stick to what you're doing and do it well for now. Yeah.
And hold on to where you are. It's not a time to move too much, in my opinion.
Absolutely. In fact, that was my question to Anjali, that, we know that certain sectors are doing better than the others. We know that there's certain job roles which are doing better than the others. And, there are certain roles which are considered extremely crucial at this time. So is this a time to flip, to change? Which are the roles which are much in demand right now? Give us a little bit of an overview, Anjali.
Sure. So like the industries that you spoke about, Parul, all the tech players are doing much better than the others. So ed tech, health tech, fintech, those are the sectors which are, of course, growing. Also, we've just heard that auto, some clients just got back to us and said, auto looks to be sprouting some greens in that sense. So that's looking up. Pharma, of course, because they are the ones who will help us fight this war, I think. So that's where the focus is. So these are some of the sectors which are doing well, and there is lots of activity here. And tech, of course, never went through a downtime. A lot of the work that, like Parul, we were talking just before we went live, the whole digital space, right? Because suddenly the action is now completely virtual and digital. So overnight we had to, change the way we thought, spoke, met people, everything. So digital, virtual, all apps or all anything that enables you to be better, both professionally, personally, in the digital space is something that is really doing well. Another industry which is doing well is the mental health, wellness. That industry has also picked up according to what we are seeing. And like you said, some of the job roles. So, things like data sciences, analytics, or cyber computing, or, these are some of the niche fields which we see are picking up really well. And, clients or companies are also really looking to hire in some of these roles. The regular roles, see, there are now, there are open positions, jobs are picking up, but yes, there are still few and far between, not as many as we would see in the pre-COVID days. And also a lot of it is getting fulfilled through personal networks. So we'll come to that in one of the later questions, but I think these are the spaces that companies are looking to hire in.
Right. So, I mean, on the whole, it seems to be quite a large, space where there is still, where like Beejal was saying, that where there is still scope and there's no need to fear, of course.
Yes. But also I will add one more stat to what Beejal said, that earlier it was 36% women were in the workforce. Today that number has dropped to 26%. Every fourth woman in 10 has lost their jobs due to COVID. So this is also a reality that is with us. So that is something that I think we need to take charge of. Another important statistic is that 85% of the girls who graduate in this country never work. So that's also a big number that is in fact staring at us. So, I think getting people like this together and seeing what we can do, and like Beejal said, upskill, reskill, those seem to be suddenly very important things. Yes.
Prriti, moving to you, like Beejal said, and like Anjali has also said, that, stick to what you're doing and do it really well. But it's really tough to do that in the current situation. You've got all your expectations from the company's point of view are as high as they always were and perhaps higher. You've still got targets, you've still got deadlines. Plus you have, everybody's at home. You've got all the unending list of household chores, all of that, which is on your head along with everything else. How do we cope? I mean, what suggestions do you have? Because companies don't expect any less level of professionalism. So would love to hear some suggestions from you on that.
So thank you. I think that's a very relevant question. And I'll begin by saying that there's no one size fits all response to something like this. Because what has been happening is that each one of us has experienced COVID differently. And I would start by saying that firstly, we need to put the oxygen mask on ourselves. So
Sure.
if there is a challenge that you're facing, and it could be unique, women usually form the role of caregivers. So you may have young children, you may have older parents, you may have 1,000 responsibilities. But first, do what is right for you and build a village around you. For instance, I mean, while at Google we have been very different in the way we have dealt with this, and our employees' well-being is our first and primary concern. But I can understand in the larger ecosystem, it may not always be the case, but speak to your manager to reset expectations if need be. The other way I look for it, and this is important for both organizations as well as for men and women and for everybody else really, is that we have got the workplace to home. The home hasn't gone to the workplace. So the first point is that the workplace needs to adapt and adjust to the fact that we are in
Is that a network drop?
There seems to be a drop in the network, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to check if we are...
Parul, we can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so have we lost Prriti?
Yeah, I think the network is
Yeah?
on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll reconnect with Prriti. Are you back on? No, I think her screen has frozen. So fine, till Prriti reconnects, because I really do want to hear the rest of what we were discussing with her. My next question, in fact, I'll move on to you, Beejal, because we were talking about how industry is bound to recover, right? I mean, it's going to go up. What goes down goes up, like you said. So it's going to be long and tough. And how do you see the job markets responding? What do you think that corporate companies will be looking for in times to come?
Versatility, fungibility,
Right.
openness. See, during the pandemic, a larger expectation of people who've been working in organizations and corporates has been that the organization now needs to be flexible. Organizations like mine, which never had a work from home culture, suddenly overnight geared up to do a whole lot of banking from home, except for the branches, a whole lot of support functions, a whole lot of allied functions started working from home. So we expected the corporation to come adapt to the work from home culture, right? The return will be that individuals will need to be a little flexible in terms of the kind of roles and responsibilities which are allocated. Any good corporation, any good organization which values people, which has people at its core and at its DNA, like the organization which I work for and many, many more, will not want to lose its people, primarily. Trust me, making a career in HR, one thing that I do vouch for is that most business heads, most business leaders and HR folk want to retain the people, want to give the continuity and comfort to the people, that they can come back to their jobs, they can deliver from home, and the office doors will open up whenever the time is right. So that is something which everybody is going to try for, and everybody is going to facilitate the staff to move in that particular direction. At the same time, employees also will need to be a little flexible, a little versatile, a little open to change in terms of the kinds of roles and responsibilities or the ask that the organization has. If that openness is there, if that flexibility on approach of what to do and how to do is there, I think it can be worked out quite homogeneously and quite happily. So I think that's the direction to take.
Right. And that does, Prriti, just to give you a little bit of a fill up on what we were saying, Beejal was just giving us a little insight into what she thinks lies ahead. The kind of roles that companies will expect employees to take up. And I think the key word being flexibility here, Beejal, if, just to kind of put it in one nutshell.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But coming back to you, Prriti, you were talking about bringing the workplace home rather than taking ourselves out, taking our homes to the workplace. So, I mean, please do complete what you were saying, because I think that's a very critical point for everyone who's watching.
Thank you. And I'm so glad you're letting me finish that thought, because
of course
we went. And
and absolutely, the whole point being that your audience is mostly mums, is all mothers right now, everybody who's dealing with the pressures we're talking about. So, any kind of recommendations and
I think, will be. So exactly. And to the point, my electricity just went. Now, this is something
right.
It's a reality at home. So things will be disrupted. And I think the first point is, and since it's a mother's group, and I'll share this, I have gone through a large part of my life feeling guilty, constantly guilty. When I'm at home, I'm feeling guilty about work. When I'm at home, when I'm at work, I'm feeling guilty about home. And I think the first thing is, this is an unusual situation. Let's be kind to each other and to ourselves. So put on the oxygen mask yourself. Stop having unfair expectations of yourself. So if your child walks in, have the confidence of saying it's okay. Let the child sit on my lap. I have had meetings where my colleagues have had children on their lap, so I can hear children in the background. And we are, as a company, of course, absolutely okay with any such disruption. We want to be extremely accepting. But I think the biggest thing is, are we accepting of it ourselves? I can't control what the organization is going to do. From an individual standpoint, you cannot control what the organization is going to do, but you can control your own thing. So let go of the guilt. Like I often say, guilt is like a 10 kg sack that I tie to my scooty, and then I try to ride it. And whatever I do, however power I will put, the scooty will not run to its full capacity, to keep getting dragged back. That's what we do to the guilt. So identify the guilt and tell yourself you're doing
keep it aside.
And keep it aside. So and the workplace needs to accept that we have gone into people's homes. So let us be accepting of the people around in the house. Not everybody will have an infrastructure, or my children are much older now, but it's absolutely, it happens when people walk in.
Absolutely.
After walking in when she was around 4 in a meeting, and I was working from home much earlier, and she declared very loudly that kitna boring meeting hai. And my entire region leadership team met more Indians, and who promptly translated it for everybody else. It's fine. I mean, we all had a good laugh.
Yeah, sure. No, I'm reminded of that clip from a BBC interview long back. Everybody saw it. It went viral, where those children walk in and the man doesn't even look at them, and you can make out that he's extremely uncomfortable about it. And then there was a whole parody made on that later, where, if there was a woman sitting there, she would have scooped up the baby, put him on her lap, and continued with the meeting. So that is, I think it just does start with our own mindset change, and how accepting we are to be flexible and be little relaxed. I think it starts from being relaxed.
And unfortunately, I will add a caveat, it's not always easy, because the environment is not allowing us. So then calling out that behavior and talking to your leaders, to your managers, if you feel uncomfortable. I think leaning in and being bold is important also.
No, that's a great point there. Yes, absolutely. I think it starts from the battle for Wi-Fi, because kids are on their Zoom calls, we are on our Zoom calls. So it starts from there. I think it's basically, it comes back down to how easy we can make it for ourselves. Anjali, for years you've been working on getting women back to work after childcare breaks, bringing women back. Essentially, the whole Back to the Front program has been fabulous, because like you said, there are already so few women in the workplace. And then when we let go of our roles, even though we're well qualified, we're extremely capable, there's a huge gap that is left over there. Work from home so far has been just a term, and I think we have to thank the current situation to some extent for actually making it a reality, and for letting senior management see that it works. It's not just a frivolous term that women want to hang on to. I'd love your views on that. Now, where are you? You stand validated, so vindicated rather. Sorry.
So what would have taken us, I think, another 15 years to achieve, we have achieved it in the last months, right? The whole suddenly we just woke up and said that work from home and flexibility like never before. So the whole conversation has completely changed. Today there is merit in the whole concept. Even when we start going back to work and going back to our offices, I think we won't have 100% attendance for a long time to come, right? Because people will say, listen, I'm going to spend 3 hours in traffic, I will reach there and I will like half dead. What is the whole point? So I'll rather do this 2 days, and then 3 days I let me be at home and let me be more productive than I can be. So that's gender agnostic, right? That applies to both men, women, anybody in the workforce. What will change is that today women can actually say that, it's okay if I want to work from home, or it's okay if I want to work flexibly. It's okay if I want to work for certain hours. In fact, the requirements and what we already hear from corporates is that they're saying, can you get us women for projects? Can you get us women who will work with us on fixed term, like maybe 3 months or 4 hours a day? So those gig opportunities that we kept thinking about is suddenly here, right? And the openness is something that we could have not achieved so fast. And the 6 months has really accelerated that movement. That said, a lot of it, with these rights, like I always say, with rights come responsibilities.
Sure.
So now it's on the women to actually say that, somebody very senior once told me that women will only come back into the workforce when you take the job to the woman. Today that has happened, right? The job is actually now at your doorstep. You don't even have to go anywhere and say, I have to do a 9 to 9 job. Who's going to take care of my child? Who's going to take care of my home when I come back? I can't manage those long hours. So that paradigm has completely shifted. So now it is on the women to say that, I want to take charge of my career, life, etc., and say that I want to be more meaningful. Like when we talk about what women, like you said also, that wear your oxygen mask first. I really, really agree with that, because, it's about what is in your own balance sheet, or what is it that you have achieved for yourself at the end of your 15-20 year career. Or even if you gave up, right, you may have done it for the right reasons, because of course, you say that my formative years are important, or that I want to be around, I want to enjoy motherhood, right, which is completely understandable. But then there also comes a time when you start questioning yourself and saying, am I doing the right thing? Like Prriti said, guilt, that whole guilt of, am I, the education, am I being, am I valuing it the way I needed to? Or the whole guilt of, I've studied, look at the expenses my parents went through to make me study. Today I'm an MBA, CA, or this or that. But what am I doing? And it's completely okay to shift fields. I think women are lucky in that sense, because you can today come up and say that, if I, in my past life, I was a banker, today I can be a painter, which is okay. So I think, so, we're lucky in that sense to
I agree.
that I can choose what I want to do.
Yeah.
The idea is to make that choice and say, I want to do this. I think that's the shift that we really need to drive.
No, in fact, I mean, my own my own example is really, it fits in with that, because I moved away from the corporate line completely, and started exploring expression, content generation and expression, and that's where I'm really enjoying myself. I had that chance to do it when I took a break after childbirth, but this is another one of those instances where women can take that step back and redefine at least take a look at their own lives and their interests, and redefine the roadmap ahead for them.
Earlier, we used to say that where are the jobs, right? Earlier, the whole conversation, and we really, I think in the last 5-6 years, we were banging on doors of corporations to say, please look at this pool of talented women. They are really worthy of a chance, etc., etc. And we did that, right? For very, very vehemently, we did it for the last 5 years. And today they're saying, yeah, sure, get me the women. But we are now going back and saying, where are the women? Like, how many of us really want to bang on back? Yes.
Door, huh?
Right. Tell us, Beejal.
She used to bang on my door, and I think it just reminded me. So I'm going to take a minute here and tell you that once I was driving back home very late in the evening from my office in the other side of town, and Anjali and I were talking, and all my interactions with Anjali have been so pleasant that I have always been a little skeptic about not, talking to her about assignments which may not pan out in terms of, the gig economy or the gig jobs that we were talking about, part-time jobs, women returning to work, perhaps doing project-based work, etc. and stuff like that. While I have passionately believed in the same, but I used to always tell Anjali, not right now. The organization is not ready right now. And very gracefully, Anjali used to always tell me, not an issue, you tell me when the time is right. And I think she should tell you the part that one day she did get a phone call from me and I said, now's the time.
And just before the lockdown, we hired a big pool of women and they are currently working with HDFC Bank. This is right.
I'm mentioning this predominantly to definitely communicate that the opportunity is there, the intent is there, the attitude is there, the arms are open in welcome. And as fellow women, as mothers, right, how would we not feel? How would we not feel for the women who've taken a break or who wish to come back? They're really a part of the larger whole that we all understand, right? So the doors did open. Like I said, the timing had to be right, and Anjali was very patient. And I'm mentioning this particular incident because we, like Anjali right now mentioned, right? We brought back, we gave opportunities, we brought back women, Imagine, we told Anjali, I want to do a drive purely for women who've been on a career break. I want those candidates. Not for any other reason, but for the fact that I wanted to see how this whole thing pans out. We made a case with the business leaders, and we spoke to Anjali and we said that, let's join hands and let's definitely talk about opportunities which we can share. So
I think
this is to reassure people.
It's hugely reassuring.
People, okay?
Yes,
so
absolutely.
To say that, large corporations will open doors. Do not think that just because you took a break or you took care of your family or children, do not think that you're on a back foot. You're not on a back foot.
Yeah. So I think that's great. I'm so glad you brought that up, Beejal, because we need to hear that. Moms who have taken a break need to hear that. It's a huge blow to your confidence when you've been out of the reckoning for a while and you just don't know how to bring yourself back in. So
that's why I gave you, at the cost of interrupting, Anjali, I gave you a live case study because this actually happened.
Like Anjali was saying that, again, it's if you've been given that chance, there's also a responsibility that comes with it. And the responsibility lies in one, taking up the opportunity, and two, being prepared for it. So I'd like all three of you to now talk about how should we prepare. It's a very interesting term that I had come across by American futurologist Alvin Toffler. And way back in the 80s, he talked about capability becoming more important than capability. And I don't think there's a better time for that to be more relevant than now. So how do we build this capability, this agility that Beejal talked about earlier? How do we bring that back into our own systems? And perhaps, Prriti, we can start with you. What are your recommendations on how women can actually build themselves back up to be able to be ready for any kind of changes? The whole idea is to be ready for a never normal world now, I think. We just need to be ready for everything and anything. So let's start with you, Prriti.
I think the start point is, of course, as parents of children, of girls, when we start off, how do we enable them to think for themselves and make decisions?
Great point. Yeah.
And that's where our society lacks quite sorely in many, many instances. I think some of us have been very lucky, but it's not always the case. Plus, even if our families are like that, the social construct is such that women start believing that they'll not be the primary breadwinners. They will not be the lead in the career. First, the belief, and I'll always start with yourself. I mean, that's going to be my theme in everything you hear me say on this point. So that hunger has to be within. Like Beejal pointed out, there are programs, she's given the example of HDFC. I can share the example of Google. We've recently launched our DigiPivot program where we are looking at women, to enhance the skills of, digital skill sets in women. And we've just graduated our class of 40 women for that. And many of them have been those who have taken a career break. I think a practical tip would be, there's a lot of things out there. Because of the internet, you can search, find out things that are relevant to you. So whether you're on a break currently, and I have had many women who've reached out for coaching, personally or professionally, to say, what do we do now? Because we were looking to come back and now this thing has happened where anyway there are job loss. So I think don't let go of that hunger. Don't let somebody else justify it to yourself. That hunger and that lean in, the whole concept of lean in has to come from within. So don't let anybody tell you. There will never be a perfect time. Find the opportunities. So if you search, a good Google search will yield many options that you can do to upskill yourself. Find your mentors, find role model women who will encourage you, who will push you to do this, right? There'll always be some reason, and there'll always be that one voice, either it's from within you or someone else outside, who will tell you, abhi nahi karo. I'm sorry, I broken Hindi, but don't do it right now. Your child is small, the schools haven't started. Your husband's got a new opportunity. It could be
of course
an endless list of things that, and it's kind of resonates with a little voice of doubt, especially for somebody who may have taken a break. I think the important thing is don't let your own voice die down. Find the opportunities. Look at social media to understand what's happening. Look for role model women who have taken that break, or even if those who haven't taken the break. I have found women mentors extremely powerful. They will reach out, they will lean in because they feel the pain that you're going through.
Yeah.
So use this time for that. If you and keep applying, keep looking for opportunities. Don't let it deter you. You'll get rejected maybe 50 times, but the 51st time may be the lucky charm. It doesn't matter.
I think your point about owning it and making it your decision, and there never being the right time. Of course, there will always be. There's never a right time to get married. There's never a right time to have a baby. There's never a right time to get back to work. I think life takes you where it is.
And if I may just add one more thing, I think the big thing is if we keep looking at ourselves saying, I'm a woman, so I can't do this. Think of yourself as a human being. Would your husband or would a man, forget husband, even for single women, would a man think like this? Would anybody else think
chance,
like that?
Yeah.
A human being who's looking to be gainfully employed, would that person think like this? Everybody has certain things in their life which is not perfect. Somebody's parents could be unwell, somebody may have a sick child, somebody may have a bad marriage. There could be n number of reasons why it's never a perfect time. But because of societal constraint, men never give themselves the option, or I'll say mostly don't give themselves the option, and women end up. So I think we have to get out of that mindset ourselves a little bit.
Absolutely. That's a great point there. Anjali, what would you like to add to this list? And especially in terms of, skills, and I know that you're on top of the demands of industry in general. So let's hear specifically also about some skills that you feel women should definitely, invest in themselves.
Yeah. So I think like Beejal and Prriti said, what we have figured is that, there is a gap that is there when you want to come back. And for that, we've launched something recently called Back to the Front Academy, which is a 3-month virtual program where we help women become transition ready. So, these things that Prriti spoke about, the whole confidence piece, the tribe, getting your tribe to support you and make sure that you tip off the other side. That whole piece of getting yourself aligned to where your career is going to take you, setting up your ecosystem, making sure you have those important conversations with yourself, your family, your going to be people that you work with, etc. So we work a lot on getting them transition ready, and of course we give them exposure to go and meet with corporates, at least have some interviews to make sure that there is an opportunity that we bring them to. So that's part of the 3-month course, in fact, that we're just signing up people for. And we've got an amazing response because we just realized that, there are so many women who are seriously contemplating coming back and really looking at these options. So like Prriti spoke about the DigiPivot program, I'm sure there was a tremendous response to the program, right? So there is scope. And there are people like us, who are bridging that gap. And I think, like Prriti said, do a good Google search, you will get so many options. It's about taking that one chance to make sure that you just start off on that journey, and there'll be a whole a tribe that will support you and make sure you get through on that side. So that's fun.
Yeah, I think even if you go through the process, even if you don't make it, like the first time you go through it, you may not be successful. There will be a learning. So focus on the learning, not necessarily the outcome, because we are already so afraid of that failure that, we'll not make it because, I have so much gap and I have this and I have that. You will not even take that learning from that experience where you go through a process and you realize, okay, I didn't get it, but this is what I came out richer out of that. And next time I will leverage that learning. I think
like what we tell our kids, right? We tell that to our kids all the time. Koi baat nahi, at least you participated, right? So that's the whole concept. And I think as we grow older, we just forget about that.
Yeah. No, I think each trial, each time you try and you put yourself out there is a learning itself. Like exactly what Prriti was saying, that next I will not maybe go into companies like this. I will try a role like that. And maybe this is what I need to ask for. I didn't ask for enough. There are learnings at every stage, and every step is going to be adding to, what lies in the future. So for sure, I think it's important. Put yourself out there.
And find some
And with such
checkers.
trials, with
Sorry.
such trials, you will get insight. I think not only, for job application, even day to day, regardless of whatever you do at work, at home, cooking, meetings, handling of a situation, don't we all sort of have some amount of intuition and insight later, saying that, I could have done this a little differently, responded a little differently. This could have been a better response than that. And that's how we are more readier, so to speak, in our future interactions. So yes, go through the process. I'm a firm believer of go through the process, whether it's a new assignment, a new organization. I've been with the bank for quite some time, but having said that, I've been in different roles every 2.5 years. So every 2.5 years, it has felt like going back to the brass tacks, going back and building things up. So please go through the process. It's an enriching experience for sure.
Also, just to finish the thought, is find cheerleaders for yourself. Very often, most people are telling us why we can't, including ourselves. Find that role model woman who will spend time with you. We all have those. We just need to look around. And somebody who's done it, and somebody who will tell you that it was difficult, but they still managed to do it. And wo kehte hain na, dar ke aage jeet hai. I have nothing to do with the brand.
I have 3 role models right here on this panel. I think that's a great start.
Yeah.
For anyone who's watching. Beejal, I wanted to ask you specifically, and I know you already added to this thought, but again, going back to upskilling, specifically, is there something that women can just start doing today? I mean, like, I know there are a whole lot of these online universities, etc., etc. Anything you would recommend?
Okay, so in continuation to a conversation which I was having with Anjali, that, suppose we were to take an example of banking because I know it best, okay?
Yeah, sure.
So when it comes to technology has these software packages as well as skills which one can upgrade on, but I'm not the expert in that particular field. I'll come back to banking, okay? So from a skills point of view, some amount of being able to operate on systems like FlexCube and some of these banking systems, right? Some amount of exposure and knowledge is something which would help. In certification government. Parul, your screen froze, so I'm not very sure.
Okay, I think we lost you for a few seconds in between. Could you just repeat that part again, please, Beejal?
So I said when it comes to banking, the ability to operate on the banking platform, right? To be able to do transactions on the system. FlexCube is one such system which one needs to understand. Certifications like NISM, AMFI are some of the certifications which are mandatorily required by the government for anybody to engage with a customer and sell any banking and financial services product. So these are some of the things which can be easily done. NISM, AMFI, etc. The centers are shut as of now, but over a period of time, I'm sure they will find
everything will move online.
Yeah, everything will move on. But these are some of the things which people can learn. Additionally, I feel that people have an apprehension towards sales and relationship. Banking, sales and relationship is more about building relationships, finding out what the customer needs. So keeping a little bit of openness when it comes to profile will also perhaps help people get jobs and do well in those jobs. Leave your apprehensions at home. I think rest is, the last thing is that if you just try a little bit and gain basic amount of knowledge, banking as an industry is teachable. So even if you don't come from a banking background, you can join us and we will
reskill and upskill.
Be rest assured that we will definitely groom you.
You spoke about banking, of course. I mean, it's very valid as far as that industry is concerned. But I think a lot of those points also carry over into other industries, because at the end of the day, everybody is going to be more digital, more data driven, more cloud driven. So we need to know how to handle these systems. I think as a matter of general upskilling, we should all learn how to, use systems which are more data driven and more digital in nature. So that's definitely a learning for everybody across the board. All companies are going to want that kind of agility. So you mentioned cross-functional roles, to be open to, not to be stuck that, okay, this is the only role that I want, and to be a little more open to being a little cross-functional. I think that's another great point that you made over there. You've all talked about these points, in fact, and it's been a very reassuring session from my point of view. I'm just going to ask you all, we'll do a quick round of closing notes. And, again, I think it'll be great because I know that we've already set this tone of reassurance. So it'll be great to just have a little message going out to the moms who are watching. Anjali, let's start with you.
I would think it's about taking charge of your own self, of your career, and really investing in building a career which, it's a 25-year journey. And I think it's very, very important to take the right steps to make sure that at the end of it, you come out of it happy and say that, I achieved something. And I think that the achievement will show through in all other aspects of your life as well. So like Prriti said, role models for your children, that part about, like we ask our kids, right? How many of us, and I know it may sound a little provocative here, but how many of us want our daughters to become homemakers, right? We all are. Even if you're working, we're not working, we all are homemakers. But the tag of only a homemaker, right? That somewhere it just takes away from you. Why that? Let's look at changing that story and taking the first step to change that.
Absolutely. I think that's a great point. And in fact, there's a message for everybody who's maybe not professionally employed. So when we say working women, we're all working women. We're professionally employed, or we're just, employed at home, but we're all employed.
Financial independence and self-worth. These are the two guiding principles that we should all try and have in our lives.
Absolutely. I think that self-worth part, whether you're professionally employed or not, is what is most important. And reskilling, upskilling can be done wherever you are. It doesn't matter what role you're playing. Beejal, last words from you.
So when I went back after maternity, I obviously, like I think all moms do, and I have twins who are just about 2.5 years old. So I asked myself,
that's your handful there.
It's a full house. Okay. So coming back to, the thought process at that point of time, like anybody else, I also thought whether I should or should not go back. But one thought which I'd like to leave with everybody is that I like creating things. I like making things and being able to see things end to end. And I realized that at least for a few hours in a day, every single day, I would like to go to an office environment, feel challenged, get challenged, and deliver something. That is something which I realized is important to me. And secondly, like Anjali also said, I think financial independence is mandatory for human beings. Man, woman, let's not get into that. I think people should be accountable. It's your own face in the mirror that you see and you're accountable for. Financial independence, being self-reliant, man or woman, everybody should aspire for.
Great thought there. Absolutely. Prriti, we're going to end with your note.
So according to me, and I absolutely +1 everything that Beejal has said and Anjali has said, I think for me, one of the things that I see with a lot of women is they'll start living in the past. That, it's been so many years that I quit working. It's been 4 years. And, just going through the thought, suddenly 4 will become 6. And then, oh my God, 6 years, my peers have become so-and-so. If I was there, I would have been a vice president of a company and I would have been this. And I think, firstly, we have to stop berating ourselves. We made choices based on the information we had at that time. It may not have been in retrospect, we can all be wiser and we can all compare ourselves. But the first thing is we made a decision which was right for us at that point in time. We cannot undo that decision. So, and there was a lot of learning. So whether you've taken a break to look after yourself or to look after your family, it doesn't matter. Yeah. There would have been life experiences that you have had in that time, which has made you a more mature person. Don't undo that for yourself by constantly living in the past. And it's always the first step that's scary. It's always the first time you'll go for an interview, which will make you feel like sweaty in your palms and wondering what's happening. Take that first step and have your cheerleaders. And I will again say the importance of cheerleaders because of our society, we tend to put ourselves, there is lots of studies to show how women kind of tend to underestimate themselves, how we will never apply for a role unless we're 100% there, vis-a-vis our male counterparts will be 70 to 80% there and they'll still apply for that role, whether it's promotions or roles. So take that chance on yourself. Don't live in the past and foresee a bright future for yourself.
Fabulous point there. I think it's so true that, we tend to kill our own story before starting it by saying humse nahi hoga because humne itna time waste kar diya hai, and my counterparts are there, and it's everything. So great points, all of you. And this has been a wonderful session. I did start with a bit of an alarmist point of view that this is happening and so many percentage jobs lost, etc. But that was really to kind of set the tone of reassurance, which all of you have done for us. And I think all the mums watching would be extremely reassured to know that yes, this is a good time. It's not a bad time. It's still a good time. There's still a lot to look forward to. A little bit of our own effort, and of course a little bit of basically researching and seeing what is out there is what we need to do. Put the two things together, and there we go. We're all set for a career post-COVID on the other side of this pandemic. Thank you so much, Prriti, Anjali, and Beejal. Thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you for your wonderful perspectives.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Parul, for having us here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.